The night Grendel struck was the darkest night of all. He waited until Hrothgar had gone to his bed, until all the lords who nightly guarded Heorot were left. They were fast asleep when he pounced. He was upon them so suddenly and with such violence and fury that none could escape the terrible slaughter. 30 lords he murdered in his bloodlust, as savage and swift in his death-dealing as a maddened fox in a chicken coop. He left not one of them alive, but carried them off home to his lair to feast on their bloodied corpses at his leisure. Only when day broke did Hrothgar and his warriors discover the dreadful evidence of the Holocaust at Heorot. Gone now were the laughter and the music. Hrothgar sat silent in his grief and despair. His warriors too mourned and lamented the loss of their friends and brothers in arms. All were stunned at the merciless cruelty of this fatal fiend of the darkness. But the horrors were not yet over, for the next night Grendel came again, stalking over the foggy moors and down through the forest towards Heorot. The warriors had barricaded themselves in this time and believed they must be safe. They could not have known that against this hellish monster all such defenses would be useless. In a frenzy of hate, Grendel burst in and slaughtered everyone he found there. Gorging himself at will, he spared no one. From that night on, no one, not even Hrothgar, dared sleep again in Heorot, and so the great mead hall stood empty, and stayed empty. Grendel the monster now ruled in Denmark, a rule of terror that haunted Hrothgar and all his people, wherever they lived, men, women, and children alike. For 12 long winters, Grendel warred unceasingly on the Danes, picking his blood victims at random, the innocent and the sick too, children and newborn babes. He was utterly without mercy. Again and again he came to his killing ground, always unseen in the black of night. No plan Hrothgar had, and the council thanes could devise, protected them from his fury. No prayers to the Almighty, no sacrifices to ancient heathen gods. Anywhere he struck, any farmstead, any cottage, anywhere and everywhere. Nothing could put an end to these endless terror raids. A great and terrible grief darkened the land, banishing all happiness, all hope. Even the noble Hrothgar sat, sunk in sorrow. Deep in his despair, the Danish king could see no reprieve from this hideous nightmare, visited so often upon his people by this fearful monster. By now, the story of this dreadful tragedy of the nightly suffering Hrothgar and his people were enduring had spread far and wide. They had heard about it, too, across the water in the land of King Hygelac of the Geats. For a long time, faithful allies of the Danish kingdom, but only one of them, the greatest and bravest of all princes, Beowulf he was called, decided that this evil beast of the night must be punished for all his wrongdoing, that Heorot must be cleansed of this wickedness, and Hrothgar and his people saved at last. Even if Beowulf had to give his own life to achieve it, family, friends, Ecgtheow, his father, and his uncle the good King Hygelac himself, all of them, did what they could do to dissuade him from this reckless, perilous mission. But all advice, all omens, only whetted Beowulf's determination to go to Denmark and slay this monster of the night. He ordered a strong and seaworthy ship to be fitted out for the quest, and hand-picked 14 of the fiercest warriors he knew. Out of the sheltered fjord they rowed this sturdy warship and set sail for Denmark, riding the wind, whipped waves over the sea. In brisk breezes the ship fair flew along, plowing the storm-tossed ocean, until at last the shadow of land along the horizon became the rearing cliffs and capes of Denmark. Soon Beowulf and his ring-mailed thanes were leaping ashore, each one thanking God most fervently for his safe arrival. From the cliff high above them, Hrothgar's startled watchman saw men land and wondered who they were, whether fiend or foe. He rowed down to the beach straightway and challenged them at the point of his spear. "Who are you, strangers? Where do you come from? I see you dressed and armed as warriors, ready for battle. In all my years patrolling this coast, no one has landed more openly. You do not come like thieves in the night, and your faces speak to me of some honest purpose. I can plainly see that your prince, who stands head and shoulders higher than the rest of you, has the look of hero about him, of great nobility and grace. Yet you are not known to us. Certainly Hrothgar has no warning of your coming. So tell me your names, and declare your intent frankly, so I may know whether to let you pass or not." Beowulf spoke up, opening his heart honestly to the Danish coast guardsman. "We have come here from my lord Hygelac, king of the Geats, your ally and good friend. All the world knows of this piteous misfortune that has befallen this land, of the marauding monster Grendel, and all his murderous massacres. We have come here to destroy him, if we can. So lead us to Hrothgar, the great and glorious guardian of his people. Take us to Heorot, the heart of this kingdom, and take us there as fast as possible. There is no time to lose." "You sound to me and look to me like a man of your words," replied the coast guard. "So accepting all in good faith, I will bring you myself to Heorot, to my lord Hrothgar, who will, I know, rejoice at your coming. Meanwhile, while you are gone on your great and noble quest, my men will see to it that your ship is well guarded." So, in their war dress of chainmail shirts, carrying their long ashen spears and great war shields, Beowulf and his warriors left their ship, anchored fast in the lee of the cliff, and marched inland, their helmets gleaming bright in the afternoon sun, strong helmets that would be surely protect them against the worst any enemy could do, or they thought. On they went until they saw at long last in the distance Hrothgar's home, Heorot, that glorious palace adorned with glowing gold, a house fit for any king on earth. Here the coast guardsman left them, pointing the way. "I must return to resume my watch for sea raiders," he said. "May the God we all love and protect you all, wherever you go, and bring you safely back to your ship again and back to your hearth and home." Weary now from their long journey, Beowulf and his war band made their way up the stone path toward the great hall of Heorot, where they were greeted at the gate by Wulfgar, Hrothgar's herald. "Lay aside your shields and spears," he commanded them. "Stack them against the wall, for you will have no need of them inside. I see friendship in your eyes, nobility in your bearing, and know that we have nothing to fear from you. But tell me who you are, and what you've come for, dressed as you are for war." "I am Beowulf, prince of the Geats, nephew of Hygelac, the king, and if you would kindly allow us to speak to the face with Hrothgar, your gracious king, we'll explain to him in full the purpose of our sea-tossed journey to the land of the Danes." Wulfgar the herald was as wise in judgment as he was fierce in war, and led them at once into Heorot to meet Hrothgar, his beloved master, gray-haired now with sovereign. "These men, grim though they may look in the mail armor, have come in peace. I am sure of it, my king," Wulfgar declared before the king and his thanes. "Chief among them and renowned prince of the Geats is the noble Beowulf, nephew of Hygelac, your friend and ally of a lifetime. Such a trusty man can only have come to help us, I think." Sudden hope warmed the old king's heart as he looked upon Beowulf, standing there before him. "You will not remember me," he said. "I knew you once as a child, when I came to the land of the Geats. Ever since then, the Geats have been my lifelong friends and allies. You are most heartily welcome to Herod, for I know of you by hearsay also. Everyone here does. I heard tell that you possess the strength of at least 30 men in each hand. I'm thinking, and I am hoping, and I am praying that you might have been sent here to us by God himself as our salvation, to stand against Grendel, that fiend of the night. Perhaps, Beowulf, it is only you who have the power to deal the monster the death blow we long for, the end he so richly deserves. Mighty in his ring-meshed mail, and gloriously helmeted in silver, Beowulf stood tall before Hrothgar and his thanes, every one of them praying, too, that this man would indeed prove to be their earthly redeemer, their strong avenger. They listened well as he spoke. I have come, great king of the Danes, Beowulf began, as Higlac's hearth kinsman, and in his name I am here to serve you, as I have served him in many a battle. All the Geats have heard of your plight, of this evil Grendel, who after the shadows fall, prowls this hall, making of it his nightly lair. From seafarers and travelers we have learned how each night this most splendid of mead halls must be surrendered to Grendel, the night stalker, how he preys foully on your people, eating their flesh, drinking their blood. I am no poet, my lord king, nor a harp player. I am a fighter. I am known at home, wherever I go, as a warrior prince, as an enemy of all evil. Only last year I dealt death to 5 giants who threatened our land, breaking their necks with my bare hands. I did the same to dozens of sea serpents who plagued our waters. If I could do that much, I thought then that I could go over to the sea to you, great Hrothgar, and offer to rid you of Grendel, this vile and loathsome destroyer. Why, I thought, should I not face him in a trial of strength and destroy the destroyer? So I stand here in Herod, your kingly hall and home, with my good companions, ready and willing to serve you. All of us are strong and steadfast in our determination to drive out this evil once and for all, to bring peace and joy again to your kingdom, and to restore you at last to your rightful hearth. Be assured, I shall do all that is in my power to achieve this. It is my promise.